All right, hey guys, this is part 2 of the Cycle 1 guided notes, and this is going to take us on to box plots and how to create them. So you might be familiar with box plots, but maybe you have heard them called something else, so maybe box and whisker. So either one, box plot, box and whiskers, it's basically just a standardized way of displaying the distribution of data based on 5 number summary. So we create a box and whisker plot or a box plot by using the minimum value, the maximum value, the median, the quartile 1, the first quartile, and then the third quartile. And I'll explain those here in just a second. So we use those 5 data points to create our box plot. So really quickly, basically what a box plot does is it takes your data and it splits it into 4 even parts, and then you display it on a really uneven looking graph. But it does take the data and split it into 4 parts. So I have this analogy with a candy bar. And if you can visualize this will help you tremendously on how to create a box plot or understand what we're actually doing to the data. And so before I get into the candy bar, I want you to think about if you had 1 cookie and there were 4 of you, how would you split that cookie up to be fair if everybody wanted a piece and you wanted to make it as even as possible? And so think about how you would do that. We'll have a lot of people say this, and this is the right way. So we take a cookie, we would break it in half, and then we would take each of those halves and break those in half. And now we have our 1 cookie split into 4 even sections, each containing 25% of the cookie or 1/4 of the cookie. So that's the same situation when you have data. Essentially, we're going to break the data in half. That's our median. And then we're going to break each half into half, and that's where we would identify the Q1 and the Q3, the first quarter, and then all the way up to the third quarter. So first quartile, third quartile, quartile 1, quartile 3. So let's look at this data set, and it's the same data set as before. We're talking about text messages between 8 and 9 a.m. So I went ahead and put this data set in order because you have to put it in order if you want to find the minimum, the maximum, and the median. And so in this data set, we need to first find the minimum and the maximum, and then we'll find the median. So the minimum is really easy to identify. It's number 1, and the max in this data set is 20. Putting your numbers in order really makes those 2 things really easy to find. Now, to find the median, we want to find the middle number in this data set. So I know there are 26 numbers in this data set, and so to find the middle of 26, I'm going to be at 13 on one side, 13 on the other. And so if I count in 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then I count 13 from this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I have 6 and 6, and so the middle of 6 and 6 is just the number 6. So 6 is actually my median. So that's essentially breaking this data in half. And so when I break it in half, this candy bar, that division point is 6. Now, to find the first quartile, we're going to take this first half of the data and we're going to break that in half. And by breaking in half, we mean finding the median. So this side of the data has 13 data points. So I can count 6 from the left and 6 from the right, and then that middle number left over will be my median. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 is my quartile 1, my first quartile. Now, quartile 3, on your notes it says Q2. I want you to write Q3. Messed up there, so it should say Q3. So to find Q3, we're going to find the median of this second half of our data set. And so again, this has 13 digits. So we're going to count 6 from each side, leaving us with 1 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so we see that 13 is our third quartile. So for our first quartile, we have 3, and for our third quartile, we have 13. So we took the data, we broke it in half, and we broke each half in half. And now that gives us 4 equal parts of the data. Each part contains the same amount of numbers. Now, the box plot doesn't look even, but it just contains the same amount of numbers. It's not necessarily the same range of numbers in each part, but it contains the same quantity of data. So let's start making our box plot. So the first thing we're going to do is create our number line. And so the highest number is 20, the lowest number is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 18, 19, 20. We're going to go ahead and plot our minimum and our maximum. So our minimum is 1, and we're going to do so above the number line. And our maximum value is 20. So those are what we call the whiskers. So the minimum and the maximum start the whiskers. The box is created by these 3 values. Oops, I forgot to put our quartile. 3 was 13. So the box is created by these 3 values. The median is at 6. So we count over to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we draw our median line. Our first quartile is 3. So 1, 2, 3. And our third quartile is 13. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So those 3 lines create our box. We're going to connect all of the bottoms, connect all of the tops, and then the very last component or part is we connect the minimum, the min and the max to our box. And it's always good to label some key parts down here. So maybe we label 1 and 20, and then we label 10. So that is the box and whisker plot, or the box plot for this data. And one thing I want to make sure that you write down is that every single section is 25% of the data. I know that these spaces don't look the same, so this distance and this distance don't look the same, but it's just because the range in numbers is bigger on one than the other, but the number of data pieces that they have in that section is 25%. They're both equal. If I were to create a dot plot, this section would have the same number of dots as this section, and this section. They would all have the same number of dots. It's just the range in the numbers in those sections can be different, so it makes the box plot look a little skewed. So if you don't fully understand that, that's okay. We can talk about this more in class. If you have questions, maybe try rewinding it and rewatching it, or watching parts of this. If you still aren't completely comfortable with creating a box plot, let me know and we can do one together. And that's it. So I'll see you in class.